It's a bit controversial to trust ChatGPT with your love life, but it can be a much more objective advisor than yourself or your friends.
So AI had you break up with your girlfriend? Are you telling me?
I'm going to get so much. Gosh, I already know the Yes, pretty much yes, but I'm going to get blasted now in the comments with this. It's fine though. I'm okay with sharing it only exclusively here on this podcast.
Welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. I have with me the one and only Alex Northstar. Alex, how are you doing today?
What a voice, my good man, Chris. When we started the show, you hit me with this energy. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. It's afternoon here in Italy. It's a beautiful sunny day. And I'm happy to talk to you again after the Imagine AI live show in Vegas. What was it, like a month ago or something?
Yeah, it still feels like it was just last weekend, but it was about 5 weeks ago that we both met at Las Vegas along with 600 other AI enthusiasts at the Imagine AI Live conference. It was so much fun, and I had a great time talking with you for a short amount of period at the Pop-Up Podcast, and now we're going to talk for a longer period. I'm very excited to jump into this. For those listening, I'm going to structure this by first getting into AI impact stuff and AI, and then later going to dive deep into who is Alex Northstar, the origin story of Alex Northstar. So make sure to hang around to listen to that as well. First of all, Alex, you're on a mission to teach AI literacy to 10,000 people. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep, it's not a huge goal. I know some people out there I want to teach, AI literacy to 1 million people. Well, to be honest, you got to start from some point, right? So I went from 10 to 100 to 1,000, and currently I'm around 10,000, right? I'm getting near to that number. And then, of course, we will scale it to 100K, all in good time.
Oh, nice. I do like the reachable goal, 10,000 people, having that impact for them. So where are you, or how are you calculating this?
That's a great question, because I was thinking before our interview, right? So because I put the number and then I was like, okay, so I have around 2,000 people from my newsletter, the AI Second Brain. I have around 1,500 students from the course, the 4-Hour AI Workweek. I have 10,000 followers on Twitter, but of course, not all of them joined there just to follow my AI guides, right? Some of them just want my secret lasagna recipe. I think also 1,000 people on LinkedIn. So I don't know. I would say indicatively, I say I'm halfway there, we could say, right? Regarding the amount of people that I actually trained and they took my course and they're reading my stuff and they're engaging often. I would say I'm halfway there. A number between 4K and 7K if God wants.
Halfway there. That's great. So you do AI consulting and you're helping individuals and businesses figure out this AI landscape and save time in their days. And you invented the 4-Hour AI Workweek. Is that your concept?
So I can give you the explanation of that, right? Because some people know that I think it was 10 to 15 years ago, right? Tim Ferriss wrote the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Right. And back in its time, that was a bit revolutionary. It was a middle way between some people said it was a scam and the people who actually implemented it, their life changed drastically. Right. Because they saw for the first time, it's hey, I can change here my daily workflows to not work the usual 40 hours per week. Right. Because when we think about work, we have this archaic notion of a 40-hour work week. Right. 8 hours per day, Monday to Friday. So Tim Ferriss was the first one to do something like that. And then AI came and there was this promise of automation, because also important to know, so when I say an AI consultant, I mostly refer to AI automation productivity stuff, right? Because AI, it's a bit generic. It could be everything. I don't do everything. I'm not necessarily an artist or all these things. I like productivity. I'm a productivity nerd. But the idea was so if Tim Ferriss could do it, right, 15 years ago to reduce the work week, I was man, there must be a way to do it with AI. And that's why I like the title. So what I did then, the concept was I made this course, but also resources around it and even a newsletter dedicated to this where I'm thinking to the workers out there who sacrifice 40 hours of their life every week to do work, right? Because the concept is that one. But I'm this can be done differently though, right? Because I used AI to simplify my workload. And it didn't take me 40 hours, right? I can get the same results in 20 hours or 10, 35, up to you. But there are ways to do it smarter with AI. So I was why don't we just propose this again? But this time we have something more practical here, right? So it's the 4-Hour AI Workweek, because you're putting the AI to work for 36 hours and you're driving it in 4 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Well, in that consulting role, I've got a big announcement for the Imagine AI Live crew is that we're having another event in New York on July 12th in New York City. And we're doing the Imagine AI Live in Las Vegas was a 2-day event. It was actually really felt like 3 nights and 2 days. This one's going to be a single day. And we're also hosting Imagine AI meetups around the world where AI enthusiasts and the AI curious can get together and meet in real life. Because I think we all kind of saw the benefit of that and the energy that was driven by actually meeting up in person instead of always just being on Twitter or Cybersphere. So very excited about that. And, Steve Metcalf, the founder and the visionary behind this whole thing, we know we're doing a V2. We're doing the second Imagine AI Live in Las Vegas a year from now. But AI changes so quickly that this should be a quarterly thing. And this is about 3.5 months later from our first conference. So we're really moving at full steam here. And first reactions to that.
I love it. Man, I was like, it was about time, because I think the first time I talked with Steve, he told me, the second time after the show, right? He was telling me, yeah, we want to do this again, right? And he's saying one time per year. Knowing the niche, right? The AI world, whatever, man, in 1 year, we're going to have ChatGPT 6, we're going to have flying cars, whatever you want, in 1 year. So do them a bit at least quarterly or something, right? So I think that was one of the driving points. He was he recognized, yeah, it's moving so fast that it makes a lot of sense to do them, every 3 months or every season. You get a new season of AI. Instead of having once per year, because then the change is so drastic, right? That you have the people who joined you last year, when they join you the second year, it's going to be what are we even talking about, right? Because last year was prompt engineering. This year is AI agents. Next year, AGI, God knows.
Yep. We're going to have another great list of speakers, but also we'll have workshop areas too, where people can go directly and get advice for their specific businesses and hear from great people in that space. And the initiative that I'm kind of leading is the global Imagine AI meetups. And we're using a platform called River, which maybe you've heard of before. Ray Lambert is the CEO and founder. And she did this out of a need for podcasts and podcasters that have a big following, a lot of fans, and they're trying to meet up in real life around a podcast, essentially. This Imagine AI Live, we've got almost 1,300 followers on YouTube, and it's still smaller. And we have fans, but we don't have a lot of fans. It's not a fan meetup around the podcast. It's just fan meetups around AI and people that are curious about it, people that are enthusiastic about it, people that want to use it more. And then to meet other like-minded people, because I feel like in a lot of offices around the country, around the world, there's the one person in the office that's wow, this is pretty amazing stuff, but I have nobody to talk about it with here. And I'm trying to get it across to people. And so to get these people together that see the opportunity and see the future is a really great thing to do. And so we want to have it around on July 12th or the weekend. July 12th is a Friday. July 13th would be Saturday. And I've done this and participated in for the All In podcast meetups, and it's a very successful thing. And the thing about them is volunteers kind of stand up to say I'll volunteer for this city to host the meetup and find a place, and through social media and the podcast that it's broadcasted. But essentially for this, we want to have Imagine AI ambassadors that are volunteering to run it for a city or a country.
What a strange coincidence that you mentioned this to me, right? In Italy, I wonder who could represent us in Italy.
Alex Northstar, we'd love for you to be the Imagine AI ambassador for Italy and help us run a meetup for the city. Where in Italy do you live?
Great question. So I live in the center south. So there is Roma, around here. And 1 hour in the south, there's this small town, which I don't know if I should mention, because then people are going to, nobody's going to visit me here. It's called Formia, pretty much. It's a small town. And then if you go even more in the south, there's Naples. But I'm 1 hour away from Rome, pretty much. And the city where I am here, it's beautiful. It's on the seaside. Only problem is nobody speaks English. So that's a bit of a barrier.
Well, I would recommend that you go up and host this in Rome for an evening.
I have a couple of ideas, either Rome or Torino. Like I'm already talking with a few organizations. For example, this week, I'm going to go to the University of Torino to do like a lecture at the university. So depending on how things go, right, I want to find the most fertile ground to build this.
So you've got a bit of the vision now, and I want to treat this more like a discovery call. Like you were my consultant and trying to help me use AI tools to make this process, this undertaking more efficient. What questions do you have, or where would you start this conversation?
Right. Why not? Let's do like a consulting masterclass on AI productivity and automation. Let's put it this way. Why not? Let's do this fun experiment. First of all, so like normally how I approach these, I don't have like cookie cutter solutions, right? Where I tell people like, hey, buy my 5K package or whatever. So for me, the most important question is always, what are you looking to achieve, right? What is your goal with whatever you do, like in your job, with your website, with your activity, whatever you have in mind, you have a goal, right? So the idea is that we're trying to reach that goal, first of all, with all possible means. But this is what I need to understand really clearly from you.
There are a few missing pieces in our media organization. And for this to be successful, I mean, we need to start a newsletter. And I feel like that's the biggest part, is the newsletter and then the distribution of it. Like we're going to have this message. We're going to be asking for volunteers to be ambassadors for Imagine AI Live. And once we get that flow of like where people can go to like find out more information about the event and what the benefits of being an ambassador would be, because we do want to have incentives involved as well, so that people that are putting in the effort to host an event get some payoff as well.
All right, that's a great start. Totally on the same page with this, because I run like 2 newsletters and I can tell you they're very powerful assets. Because like with social media, sometimes people see your posts, sometimes they don't. But with a newsletter, right, you have direct access to their inboxes. So whenever they look, at their phone, and people read their emails most of the time, they would see, right, the emails from Imagine AI Live. So definitely it's a step in the right direction to build awareness and engagement with a newsletter. I would say it's even more important than social media. Like ideally you would want from social media to take them onto the newsletter, because then you can nurture this audience, right? You can tell them a lot more. For me, it's also important to explain to you the strategies, because it wouldn't make sense for me right now to throw at you like 7 AI tools and you're going to be like, cool, what do I do with these, right? So your goal is to get more engagement, right? With the help of a newsletter. That makes sense. That is a bigger goal. Now, the next question would be, can you run it? Do you have capacity? Do you have a big team to run it? Because that's where we go into the AI automation, productivity implementation, right? So you're telling me you don't have it now. What's the block there? Probably the team is not big enough, or there's not enough experience running it. Let me understand more.
Writing is a difficult thing, and like finding a voice or a unique angle for the newsletter. There's a lot of AI newsletters out there. We don't want to just like be a news aggregator of what's happening every day. We want to get into more like the stories of people using AI and businesses using AI from that perspective. Yeah. So the writing part of it would probably fall to me, unless we hire somebody, a copywriter, a writer who would take that on.
All right, I get it. So it's usually this is where I reached my part of the expertise, because like people usually have the roadblock here, right? They're like, I don't have like enough resources or time or energy to do this. And in your case, you're lucky, because this can be automated by AI with around like 80%. Because first of all, I'm doing it for myself. So it's like my newsletters are not completely written by AI, but it helps me a lot. It accelerates me. Otherwise, I would not be able to write like 4 times per week, run 2 of them, and make them also profitable. So the idea here would be, for example, one of the case scenarios I can already give you as an example. You can literally take these interviews, the transcript, cut it into the most important, interesting pieces, and feed it to the AI to write for you a newsletter based on this interview. This is just an idea from the top of my mind, but this would already give you the material to write like 75% of your email. Now, you can also use AI, for example, to help you do the marketing part of a newsletter, because it's a business in itself running it. I can tell you from experience, where you need, for example, a good headline, right? Otherwise, people never open your emails. But even for that one, you can do with power prompting. You can automate it with AI. Probably it can give you good headlines and you can pick one. I literally did this morning with my newsletter. So one of the workflows that I would normally give you, as I said, I'm giving you everything here because I'm treating you like you'll be one of my paid clients pretty much, right? So I would tell you how I fix these problems for myself. That's what I give to people. I don't give them fluff that I don't know about. These are problems I had, I fix them, and then I share stuff. That's why people kind of appreciate my approach. So in my case, I went on a walk, right, with Voice GPT, and I was talking into the ideas I had, the people I wanted to help, and what were my roadblocks, what I was trying to achieve. And this is how I essentially wrote like 75% of my newsletter this morning while going on a healthy walk and doing the work at the same time. So that was great. That was a great experience because compared to this, there are people today that are still spending 3 hours to write one newsletter, staring at the blank page and dreading it. Or you would hire a copywriter, which is going to cost you, like 3 to 5K. A good one is not cheap, but AI would allow you. So, but that's the idea. Like if AI can accelerate you, right? It doesn't take you 3 hours to write a newsletter. It takes you like 30 minutes. Then it's doable because you know how to do it, right? You know how to write the headline with some AI automation. You have already the material to put in it because you know the structure and it writes it for you like half or 75% of it. And then you just like launch it. And even for this, there are even more powerful workflows because with the newsletter platforms, you can have like automations, right? That send, for example, like a flow of emails when somebody joins. So this would be also really cool to implement with automation and AI, where you would have somebody join your newsletter and they would, get hit with an email sequence of like 5 to 7 emails where you're telling them what is Imagine AI Live, why should they follow it, how are we improving their lives, and what's the difference here, what are the benefits. And I can tell you from my experience, Imagine AI Live has a lot to give. Because nobody out there currently is doing these kind of live events where you're not showing people the news. The news is literally people joining to learn about AI. To me, that's a beautiful concept. And that is something that, a lot of folks out there would love to read about, to understand that they say like, hey, I'm not the only nerd in Italy who is interested in AI, but there's actually a community out there who wants to engage with me, right? So there's a lot of ways to run this and make your life easier with the help of AI assistance and automation. Just to start with, this is one of the processes, but normally in my consulting, right, we take care of multiple things for you to make your day easier. But this is one of the things that you mentioned me. Would you have something else that you want to discuss?
No, I just some thoughts on that the voice GPT. I keep thinking about that. I just want to be able to talk out my problems or my ideas and then have that be stored somewhere, or for ChatGPT to amplify on that, to write out a bunch of stuff and help me work out my problems and my thoughts. So with voice GPTs, that's ChatGPTs, and you're just talking into it.
Yeah. So when I say it, I don't want to make it too complicated. So it's essentially download the ChatGPT app on your phone, right? And it has the option there to just talk with it. You put the headphones on or something, right? And you just press the button and you talk with it.
How do you keep the ChatGPT to know your writing style or your voice every time you log in and start a new thing? Because it's not storing all that information, is it?
Good question. I can tell you the latest developments, they're building memory into it. So it will store this information. It will remember your style. But for now, the current system I'm using is I have a power prompt for that, right? So it took me a bit of time to refine my writing style and how I talk. I built a prompt around it and then I feed it, right? So I have it in my database, I feed it, it knows the tone, and then I start talking with it.
Right. And the power prompt was that's one of your first go-to advice that you give people to start using power prompts, right?
So yeah, regarding also this, I can tell for a lot of people out there, if you want to start profiting and, leveraging AI to make your life easier, prompt engineering is the first thing that you got to learn. And when I say this, I know that the word sounds like it's rocket science, but it's not. It's simply understanding a bit what's the best way to talk with ChatGPT, or in general, the AI or the machine, however you want to call it, right? Because the better you manage to talk with it, the better results you'll get. This sounds simple when I put it this way. I can tell you it's not. It will take you a bit of time because it's like a skill that you develop, right? So the more you talk with it, the more you notice, nowadays I've noticed when I'm in a rush and I give it a vague prompt and I get the result, I know it's not the fault of AI, it was my fault. But this kind of capacity, you develop it with time. And when you build them, you do that some micromanagement, you change little pieces, and it makes a significant difference. And once you know the little hacks and you start accumulating them together, you get some really powerful results. That's when AI starts kicking in and you say hey, this actually made my life a lot easier.
Are prompt engineers making $300,000 a year?
I love that. It's one of the memes in the community when people are prompt engineers are making $500,000 per year. Some of them are, but they're very rare. And I can tell you those are usually the people building the LLMs. This is one of the mistakes. A lot of people, they mess it up because knowing prompt engineering is like, it's the practicality of it, right? So like I know how to build prompts to talk with the AI. That's one thing. When you see these ridiculous salaries, these are meant usually for like the LLM builders. Like when they say prompt engineers, because I saw it, like for example, I saw, open jobs at like Anthropic for Claude. And they were offering like the salary was between 190K and 330K per year. So if you're one of the senior prompt engineers, you can reach those salaries. But if you check what they do, you will notice it's not about building prompt. It's about building the architectures and all the stuff behind how the AI works, which few people have, to be honest.
You also mentioned that your newsletters are profitable. And that is something that I'd definitely be interested in. It's like even our YouTube channel, it's like we've got a decent amount of following now. And we have one sponsor, Podcast AI, and we could have more sponsorships, but it's like a job in itself trying to find sponsors and trying to find people that want to advertise with you. How can AI help me there?
That's a pretty good question regarding this one. I would use it in a half and half scenario. What do I mean? First of all, you would need to know who are your perfect sponsors, right? So first of all, you need to find them. That is something that not necessarily you would do with AI. It's a bit of, the human skills, human, ingenuity to do. But what it can help you is you can actually, most of the time it's a mix between quality and quantity, right? So like you want quality sponsors, but you also quantity to reach out to a lot of them. So where I can see AI benefiting you for this is simply, doing good cold outreach. So I would prepare like a list of, 20 to 50 possible sponsors. And I would just use AI, for example, like to scrape their website or see what they do or who's the hiring manager, whatever they have there, right? They're responsible, and use AI to help me draft emails, right? Tailored custom emails for these people. So like I would go on their LinkedIn, I would see what they do, and then I would write like a very nice message to contact them. Now, this is interesting because if done right, it allows you to scale your efforts, right? If you'd go and write a personalized email to each and one of them, it would take you like 1 week to reach out, like to 50 people. With AI, you can do this in 1 day. So this increases your surface of effectiveness pretty much. I also did something similar where I had like automation scraping the websites of potential partners or people who I was interested in working with. The backend prompt is simply scan this website, tell me what it is about, and draft for me like a warm tailored email to get in contact with them. So I would just like see the email it prepared for me. And then I just like, okay, I make some small adjustments or fix it and then I just send it. And again, the advantage here is that you are working as if you would be like a team of 5 people contacting, a lot of external people out there. Something to keep in mind. It's a possible approach to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just so many ways. I mean, already AI and automation's helping me do so much with my time. And I re-listened to your speech at Imagine AI Live recently. Your goal of helping people save time to better live life and spend time on leisure or with their family
or
more work. And that's essentially what I've done is just, more work. You can do more things. And I've got this podcast. I've got Good Future Podcast, which is my language learning effort to encourage language learners to use podcasts to improve their speaking and English skills, and also helping other podcasts with their clips and full YouTubes and just doing so much. And I feel like my life's just a juggling act, but thanks to these automations that I have in place, and then ChatGPT to be able to help me, like you asked me to like put up some questions beforehand to give you an idea. I just like quickly went to ChatGPT and like kind of gave them a framework of
I love it. Yes, this was the correct thing to do. I love it.
Yeah. And just, you never have an excuse to not create or to have something anymore because ChatGPT can do it for you. And then it's just about getting good at like managing your time and like not getting distracted by prioritizing things. I don't know how much ChatGPT can help you there, but I'm sure there is a way.
It can help you more than you expect. It can help you more than you expect because I suffered from this a few months ago. This is one of the typical things that, like entrepreneurs and solo business owners have, right? Because, let's put it this way. The successful people have these problems. Because like if nothing is happening, right, you don't have a lot of things to juggle because nobody really cares. I know it sounds controversial, but it is what it is. In the moment that things are starting happening to you, right, you have people reaching out to you. You have things that you want to do, cool things that you want to build, and they run in parallel because it's not just like a one-trick pony. So then you need to develop one of the main skills of entrepreneurship, which is focus and prioritization. I struggle with this because I like a lot of cool stuff out there, right? So I build chatbots with voice flow. I do speaking events, stuff like that. Like I run newsletters, cohorts, whatever. And the thing is, I also built like a GPT to help me with this, right? I would just tell it, for example, like my current situation, how I'm thinking about it. And I would ask it to give me like an objective evaluation of what makes sense to pursue. So that's the cool thing, right? So you can literally build like a GPT in the back end. You're telling it like, hey, to me, it's important because it improves the quality of my life, or it gives me great revenue for my business in the long term, or stuff like that. And you'd be surprised how helpful it can be, because the AI is very objective at the end of the day, right? So like compared to like a human advisor or something, right? That they might be, biased. AI has no reason to be biased. Like it tries to be a helpful assistant at the end of the day. So that is the advantage that you would get, because it would tell you like, hey, what you have in mind is good for now, but maybe bad for the future. It will distract you, right? Or this specific activity is boring now, but it can have like good ramifications for the future. And you didn't think about this because we're kind of short-sighted creatures, but the AI knows a bit more about this. So try that out. It's an idea. It can help you as a buddy to help you prioritize better. And combine it with beach walks. Like you do this while you walk on the beach, definitely recommend.
And you're essentially saving all these, like your priority, you're saving this prompt in your super prompts. I'm still confused about that a little bit.
Yeah, I can explain to you the best tool that I have out there. Also like sharing it in Imagine AI Live. So like one of the tools that I really like is called Text Plays. Now I'm not sponsored by them, but it's great because it's super cheap. It's like $3 per month. You're even for free. And it allows you to do like text snippets, right? So you put like in your key, it's like keyboard shortcut. So you put like /focus, /email writer. So what it does is when you do these shortcuts, right, that you remember from the top of your head, like it pastes the whole prompt there. So I don't have to go to a Google Doc and search through it, copy the prompt, put it. It's all done with these keyboard shortcuts. And this allows you to be very efficient and very fast. And also something that I tell people is like, you don't need to do 20,000 things with AI. Just focus on the main ones that you have, right? Find those 5 to 10 repetitive tasks that you have per day and build workflows and prompts and automations around them. And that will already save you at least 2 hours of work per day. Or like give you like 2 hours of free time back. It worked for me. It worked for like at least 20 people that I consulted.
Awesome. Well, Alex, I don't want to get too bogged down on this consulting. It's already super helpful. And I've got like 5 other questions. And, it's going to evolve. And this is going to be kind of like an iterative process. Like we have this goal. Like I'd love to see, 100 meetups around the world happen this same weekend, because I don't know. It's like a fan club for AI. That's what Imagine AI fan club, or Imagine AI enthusiasts club. There are different, obviously tons of Discord groups, tons of Twitter groups of these enthusiast people.
They're not the same though. They're not the same as like meeting in real life. It's just a whole different experience, like 10 times better. At least from my experience in Las Vegas, it was amazing.
Right. And that community building, we have a Slack page. We're going to build that out. Yeah. So a lot of work ahead, and I'll keep you abreast at how that all is going. I told people that I was interviewing you and I got some good questions. So I want to get into some of them. What are most people focusing on when learning GenAI that you think is a waste of time?
I like that one. I think somebody asked me this yesterday and I was like, I'm going to keep it for later. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to sound really controversial, but it's like AI theory. What do I mean with this? Like, since AI launched, if you go and search out for the free courses out there or material, you're going to find a lot on Coursera and or even like the Google course. Like they're excellently done, right? They're super good, but they teach you theory pretty much. Like how do they work on the back end? These, like LLMs, and how are they built and whatever. It's like, it's nice to know, but they will not give you any results, these ones, because it's fun facts. But at least for me, my clients, most of the time, they ask for tangible benefits, right? They want to get their time back or they want to make more money. So theory is not going to help them. That's why I see some people, they go out there and they read all these resources. The problem is you can't apply this stuff, right? Where do you put these kind of notions that you have right now, where what is tokenization, this kind of stuff? So what? That's why my approach is very practical. I tell people, before you even touch AI, think about your work. Where do you struggle? Where are bottlenecks? Let's find solutions around that. And every person has different needs, but that's how you get the true benefits of AI, according to my humble experience.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're trying to be an AI engineer, AI scientist, it's really important to understand all these fundamentals. For the average person, the average business person. You just need to know how it works and what it can do for you.
Right. But even like for the family man, right? Like if you're a dad, if you're a husband, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're like a wife or whatever, right? Like you could learn theory and spend your weekend doing that, or you can learn how to automate a couple of your tasks so you have more time to go to dinner with your kids, right? Which one is more valuable and gives you more results?
Yep, I'm all for the practical solutions. All right, well, thank you for that. What are some of your top courses, if somebody, not including your own, but for somebody to jump into how to use generative AI from scratch?
Yep, I can tell you an excellent platform that I really enjoyed is called Code Signal.
Code Signal.
Yeah, Code Signal. So it's like basically a platform for learning, but what they have an excellent course for prompt engineering, and they have this little cute corgi dog. And it's really well done, to be honest. Like it's really hands-on, it's really practical. It does like you learn by doing stuff. So that's one of my platforms that I really enjoy doing it, even for myself sometimes. So they have a lot of courses there, like on programming, whatever. But the prompt engineering course, I definitely recommend it. That's a great one. Outside from that, honestly, with you, I don't do like I created, like one course for myself, like with all the information that I have, and it's massive. But like I didn't do a lot of courses to get to the point where I am. Like I mostly did specific courses on problems that I had later, right? For example, when I had like problems with doing sales or stuff like that, I took a course on sales. But like most of the time, as I tell people, focus on what your problem is right now and work with that. Let's put it this way. I mostly learn with project-based learning. So I establish a project for myself and then I try to make progress. And whenever I get stuck, I either get courses or information out there, databases, whatever. So I wouldn't say I have dedicated places where I get all my knowledge. I get the knowledge that I can find out there from different sources.
You said that you've gone through and tried 700 AI tools. How are these things coming across your desk? Like, where are you getting your AI news to try out these new things?
If you will go on social media, you'll notice that the most viral posts are from the AI influencers who show you the newest 50 tools released this week or during the day. Do you think they try them? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the thing is, that's how I get my list of tools, right? So there are these influencers and they show you, hey, these are the latest tools, blah, blah, blah. And like I check and I see, right, what do I need? Do I need it for productivity, for copywriting, for marketing? And most of the tools offer you like free trials, right? It costs you nothing. You just give them the email. Don't give your personal email, make like a burner email or something. And you can just 2-3 of them. So you can subscribe multiple times if the service is good, like a little hack here. And then you can just try it out. And I usually try them out, like for like 15 minutes, see how the user experience is, how helpful it is, if it's worth it or not to be, because this is like my benchmark. Normally when I try these tools, it's like, could I have done this with a ChatGPT power prompt? And I can tell you 98%, 99% of the times the answer is yes. Like I didn't need a whole platform that I give them my email and I pay $20 per month because I could have just made a power prompt. Like, I don't know, article generator, headline generator, business plan design or something like that. I didn't need like a separate AI tool to do that for me. You can do it with prompts. So that's how I try them. And consider that I've been doing this for like 1 year at this point. So I kind of had to go through them, and try them daily. But the good tools out there, they're extremely few. Like the ones that really make a difference in your workflow and I can really recommend them to people, like blindly, like I say with text plays, they're really few.
So Steve Metcalf, the founder, asked, out of all the prompts you've made, which has been your greatest unlock and why?
That's a tricky one because I think I made like hundreds of prompts and they keep changing. I keep, like revising them. I got 2. The second one is a bit more controversial, but I think you might enjoy it. The first one is regarding the business mentor because I never had one. I was like an office worker, like I always wanted to have a mentor, but I never had one. I didn't know how to connect with people and I read a lot of productivity books. So what I did in the end is I kind of created my business buddy, right? And whenever I have like a business challenge, it's based mostly on Alex Northstar, to be honest with you, because I like his style. He's like no BS approach, right? So like it's based a bit on him. And I consult with him, right? And he tells me what am I doing wrong, what I should be, careful with. And I tell him it most of the time is like, I'm a beginner in this. I want to do better. How would you approach this? And the advice he gave me is pretty good. Like you tell me like, find the better people out there and connect with them and, be useful to them. And it's like, you'll see that you'll improve. And it's like, okay, in the span of like 2 months, that gave super good results. It gave me many more tips, like how to expand my business in terms of like newsletter, writing, article, like content creation and interviews and stuff like that. But for me, this was almost all new. That's the thing. Like I never did this kind of like entrepreneurship or consulting before. I had like different tasks in my previous career pretty much. So that was the thing. It's one of them, like the business buddy prompt. I really enjoy it and I keep tweaking it every day. And the second one that people might not expect, it's kind of a love therapist. And this might be a bit surprising because like I tried it a month ago. I had the situation, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but it regards a lady, okay? Very far away from me. It's a long story. And it was like a life-changing decision. And I ran it through my like ChatGPT psychologist, let's put it this way. But here's the trick. I didn't ask it like, oh, help me feel better or stuff like that. It's like I had like this half an hour talk with it. And then I told it, rate objectively my emotions and my logical decision making, right? Like how would you rate this? Right? How confident do you feel I am? Should I do this step in my life? And I found out at the end of the conversation, like, hey, based on what you told me, it gave me some good advice, by the way, what to discuss with her, which I did after the conversation. It told me your confidence ratio is 30%. And that changed my whole dynamic because like in my mind, I was like, I wanted to do one thing, but based on how well it gauged my level of stress, how excited I was and all this combinations, like it was a 30%. I'm like, okay, this is not good statistics. I should just take a step back. As I said, it's a bit controversial to trust ChatGPT with your love life, but it can be a much more objective advisor than yourself or your friends.
So AI had you break up with your girlfriend? Are you telling me?
I'm going to get so much. Gosh, I already know the Yes, pretty much yes, but I'm going to get blasted now in the comments with this. It's fine though. I'm okay with sharing it only exclusively here on this podcast.
All right. Well, I hope your next love encounter, the AI is more favorable because it knows who you are and what your priorities are.
Yeah, that's important. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like when you hear the concept, I know it sounds crazy, totally. But what I didn't expect was, the final 30%, like that ratio, right? Was like during the conversation, okay, this makes sense, whatever. But then in the end, when it calculated this for me, I was like, wow, it's actually right. Like I'm trying to avoid this, but it's not wrong. So that was like a big unlock for me.
Well, I mean, the biggest unlock you can have is finding a partner that's right for you. And that's one of the biggest decisions you make. And, as somebody who I've been married for 5 years now and happily so, and we have a 2-year-old daughter and we're enough alike where we have similar interests, but we're different enough where we kind of fill each other's gaps and push each other to do more. And so there's a lot of good overlap and,
yeah, that's good.
We're our own things too. So I want to get into some more stories. There's 2 stories that I want to hear from you. The first is when I started following you on Twitter, you said how you wanted to help your town in Italy to become more understand the power of AI and so that your town city government can use it better to govern better, I presume. And you offered it for free to them and they turned you down. Could you tell us that story?
Yeah. So what happened is, right, I'm a digital nomad at this point. I've been doing this for like around 1 year. I've been traveling around places. I've been giving like workshops to people in different continents at this point, right? And well, something happened in my family this year. So I had to come back to my family and spend some time with them, right? And I was like in my little hometown. I haven't been here since a long time because I spent like 3 years in Berlin. I've been like in Vietnam and all these places. And I was like, hey, I do workshops for people. Why would I not do it in Italian for my hometown, right? So then I went to the town hall. And as I said, nobody speaks English here. It's a pretty small town. And boy, I was in for an adventure. When it's like, first of all, I got ghosted. Where they were like, they didn't even answer back. I was telling them, I was like, hey, I even got invited, to speak about this stuff in Las Vegas. I think that was what made them suspicious. When you tell people you're going to Vegas to talk about something, like this guy is either like some form of superhero or he's a scammer or something, So like imagine in a little town when you tell people like this guy that talks in Vegas and he wants to give you the AI workshop in a town with like 40,000 inhabitants. Probably they saw like this guy must be like some scam or something. So I don't know. But you have people, I was telling them, like when they called the mayor as like, there's a young man here who wants to propose some talk about artificial. And I was like, sir, it's artificial intelligence. Like it's AI. That was already a bad start. In the end, they gave me the number of the secretary, not even to the mayor. Like, okay, fine. I called the secretary like, hey, normally I do, these workshops either for entrepreneurs or a couple of like B2B clients I have, right? Here's my testimonials if you want to see, it's legit. And they were like, yeah, I will talk with the mayor. We're going to let you know. This was 3 weeks ago, I think, or 4 weeks ago. So long story short, they ghosted me. They didn't consider me. So like the latest development would be, well, now time kind of run out for them because now I'll go traveling again. I will go to Bulgaria as a speaker there for the Bansko Nomad Festival. So I won't have time to do this workshop here in my town. I also will go to the University of Torino, so based in the north. I find like more fertile grounds, but maybe one day I'll meet the mayor in person right on the street and I can pitch him AI unlocks and, the wonderful world of LLMs. But kind of sad, to be honest, like I'm not going to lie. It's kind of sad because they have this saying in the Bible, which is like nobody's a prophet in their own land or something like that. Somebody mentioned it to me and I was like, that struck me as like, why is that a thing? And it makes sense somehow because it's what happened to me, right? Where I'm telling people, even when I went on the stage in Las Vegas, I'm telling people, I am a nobody from Italy, right? So in Las Vegas, I got invited to travel to another continent to talk about this stuff, and companies, American companies and German companies would pay me. But in my hometown, in my country, people ignore me. Or I tell them about what I do, like, oh, chat GBD, what is that? And I'm like, oh no, not like that. So yeah, rough. But I don't give up. I will persist. I'll find some ways, or maybe I'll just wait until they change mayors and then I'm going to try again,
Yeah, and you can always help them remotely in the future, even if you're not in your hometown. Oh, that's great. I mean, it just kind of makes me think about how this is a tool and technology that can improve everybody's life if they know how to use it, but they have to accept it first and they have to be like willing to use it.
Exactly. Yeah, this is so important, right? That's what you see, like, because you need to be open-minded to see like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I want to learn. Because I was telling them, like the whole objective of this would have been to give them workshops that allows, the local small businesses or entrepreneurs to develop more this ecosystem, right? And improve my hometown. That was the whole purpose of it. It's not like I wanted to teach them some black magic of AI or some stuff like that. And by the way, the whole thing why did I share it in public? Because I also wanted to inspire people because, like on Twitter, I have like around 10,000 followers, some pretty good connections with nice people. And I wanted to encourage them, right? So if you know about AI, go and talk with your local authorities and help them out, right? Do some speeches for free. Go at the university and teach this stuff because they don't know. They didn't spend the time that you spent to learn it. So why not give it back to the people, right? That was the whole objective. And quite a few people reached out to me to ask me about this story, which I kind of failed miserably, but I will persist.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And could you talk about your time at Google now in Berlin and the whole team getting automated away except for you who got a promotion?
Yeah. Regarding this, I cannot say much because of corpo stuff. So I was working together with Google on a project. The thing is, the automation came because some of the processes that used to be done by people manually, for example, contacting and talking with clients, well, they found ways to make it so that an automated system could take care of them. The problem was that the people in the end, they were not upskilled to do more stuff, right? So they stayed at the same levels and then they were made redundant because we saw like a change from 3,000 of these situations, let's put it this way, to like 300. So at this point, why would you need, a team of like 137 people to do that if it was like a lot less, the volume of requests pretty much. In my case, I got promoted because I was the one being a bit more proactive and upskilling myself with other stuff. So they kind of kept me for like another project and doing a bit like different stuff in terms of like training people and developing, like some HR resources. But it was rough. The good thing about all of this is like, that's why it gave me the drive to pivot and change it. Because then I left the job, as I mentioned in the interview, like I left the job like a few months later because like I wanted to change things, right? And I saw the opportunity like AI, not to replace people, but to empower them, right? To give them the possibility of remaining relevant. So that's why I went all in on this as being like an AI educator, teaching people the AI skills so that they don't get left behind pretty much. That is my main goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a great goal and it's really motivating one. I just think it's so important that people kind of accept this notion of being a lifelong learner and that you can never really stay complacent in your skill set. And there's always so much more to learn. And so you really need to put yourself into a situation where you're kind of forced to learn and finding joy in that new knowledge and that newness of things and challenging yourself. I know a lot of people kind of get stuck in their, I don't know, in their jobs where it's like they know the skill and they can keep doing it. And it's everything pretty comfortable and stuck in the routine of things. But, find that passion where you are trying to stay at the cutting edge of things and and learning about all these new advancements that are happening every day. And that's also the nice part, whereas anybody that once you do want to jump in, you're kind of at the same page as everybody else because everything's moving so quickly. To get into tech today, you're not at a huge disadvantage to people who got into tech 3-5 years ago, just because a fresh slate every day with all this new stuff. And then AI making it so the accessibility and then the power of that so great.
Absolutely. That's why. And I think more people should know about this, right? Because that is the problem sometimes that I see in people where like they tried ChatGPT last year. They were not impressed by ChatGPT 3.5. They didn't even put effort. And they said, oh, this stuff is garbage. It doesn't work. So what happened is they missed out immensely on the newer developments, right? On the automation tools, on the workflows, on the better LLMs that they're not leveraging it today. At the same time, though, there is still possibility to improve with this, right? Nobody's stopping you from learning a couple of new things. As I said, check out some courses, some resources, get the basics and put it to work for you. That's what I tell people. Like, I don't need you to learn LLMs, how they work. I want you to put AI to work for you. And this can be done. But this is a conscious decision that people need to take. That's what we do. That's why I try to persuade them to not be like people who say like just dismiss it, but people who says like, okay, I understand this is a thing that's happening. Let me check it out. As we did with computers, right? As we did with smartphones. You could have hated it, but you couldn't stop it.
Yeah, with the internet and social media too. I mean, social media is the same way where a lot of people they might be passive users of it, but they're not actively using it and building a platform for yourself or for your company or for some project that you want to get involved in. And just learning the tools of social media make you more powerful as well. And so I think social media and AI are two good fields to be curious about and stay learning.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely change your life. At least like I changed my life by leveraging both of them, right? So like social media, I never used it until like 1 year ago. I think on the 17th of May is going to be like my 1 year anniversary on Twitter. And before, I never used it my whole life. I knew what it was as a platform, whatever, but I never used it. But, posting 20,000 times in 1 year literally changed my life. Like I traveled to 3 continents before I was only in Europe. Like I met incredible people and changed my life, but also the life of other people with building services and products. That is pretty significant.
Yeah, this stuff compounds where if you stick with it, it should become easier for you to grow a following and help more people as you continue to do it. And it gets to a point where we mentioned earlier where you're turning stuff down because people are coming to you with different projects and different ideas and different things, cool things. And it's just like you got to stay focused on the things, your North Star.
They make a difference, right? They make a difference for you and for the people that you want to help. Because I also got, for example, some people want to commission me to build some AI girlfriend bots and stuff like that. And that's not my cup of tea, for example.
Learning where to say no is important for sure. All right. This has been fascinating so far. And I've got a sense of your mission and what kind of drives you. I mean, you're doing so much, but it's that you really do enjoy helping other people. And when other people are learning and benefiting their lives, that kind of keeps you motivated. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is the thing that brings me joy, is like it's unlocking the potential of other people, right? When they tell you I wasn't able to do it, because like, for example, some people took my course, right? And one of them managed to like win a hackathon in Estonia. Another lady got like a promotion at work and stuff like that, right? And then when they tell you this, right, you're like, hey, I'm so happy, that I had the ability to impact the life of this person in a positive way that they are happy. And I see a lot of people, not a lot, but like some people out there, they're a bit like, maybe they're like jealous, where they see somebody winning and you're like, ah, damn, like they're winning, you get jealous. In my mind, I was like, if they win, I also win, right? If these people that took my course or like reading my stuff, they win, it means what I'm doing is good and they will also like me, right? So like there's only to win if you help other people win. Plus, yeah, it gives me joy to learn, to teach others, to be a useful member of the community where I am. So it's been going pretty good now.
It's not a zero-sum game. All boats are rising with this technology and everyone's getting smarter and able to do more. So it's wonderful. Tell me about Alex, the child. What was your childhood like?
Simple. I can tell you, I used to run a lot in the woods. I was like a very nature-oriented kid, like in my grandparents' place. I would just like go running the whole day in nature. I enjoy that. Not much, to be honest. Like as a child, I was not so big into tech, right? Some people would say like probably you were already, into computers and tech. Like not really. I was a very simple like nature guy, just spending time reading a lot. I still read a lot. I enjoy, reading books. My adolescence was a bit interesting, I guess, because like here in Italy, when I was like a teenager, I was the only one who listened to dubstep. I don't know if you remember what that is. Now, nowadays, like it lost, like it's not interesting anymore. To me, it was funny because when I used to listen to dubstep, nobody knew about it in Italy. And it was so embarrassing to talk about it because, the kids in high school ask you, what music do you listen to? And I was like, well, how do they explain this to you? So that was something. I used to make music with FL Studio. I don't know if you ever heard about that. It's like Fruity Loops. It's a software program. You can make music.
Any video games?
Video games, quite a lot. Yeah. I used to play StarCraft. I'm a pretty big nerd with video games. Even nowadays, I play some stuff.
What do you play these days?
I play a lot like Borderlands. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a pretty good game. You have Borderlands. If you want to put in the show notes, I can give like a list of my favorite games, but Borderlands is definitely there. I also play Battlefield, but yeah, mostly like also strategy games and stuff like that.
And what did you do before Google? Like getting the job at Google, did you have a profession before that, or was that kind of your first big one?
No, I worked in quite a few things. I will have a post regarding this in the next days because before going to Berlin and creating a bit of a corporate career doing different things, I also used to be like a waiter in my town. This town that used to be like a waiter in the biggest restaurant in my town. So the change has been pretty massive. This is a story that very few people know, how I pretty much like left everything that I had here, right, to do more, to get like a university degree, to move to another country, to learn German. That was a whole process in itself, like in the span of like 10 years. Nowadays, the difference is huge, but I'm going to talk about this maybe like in another episode, give this like what happened from going to like this man over here to this man that I am nowadays. It's been a great change, I guess. And it's all thanks to education and learning, though. Like that's one of the things that I'm going to talk more in the future, perhaps, because I said in the interview, like education kind of saved my life, right? So there's a lot of ways out there to improve.
Yeah, and I'm sure you had to take a number of bold steps and like big decisions. That jumping off the ledge, basically, to go to Germany, move to another country and culture is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing, especially because like changing from Italian food to German food, man, I do not wish that on anybody. With respect to our German listeners.
Yes, good sauerkraut and bratwurst is always good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Besides that. So, all right. Well, you brought it back to food. Let's end with this question. You had a pretty good joke on Twitter, pineapple pizza. Maybe you could re-say that.
Yeah, so not a problem because like most of the time, sometimes I talk about because like some of my friends, right, they like to tag me in those amazing posts, right, where it's like, hey, look at how good is pineapple with pizza, right, and have a really vocal opinion on that. We're like, the best way, right, to eat pineapple pizza is like to put the pineapple 5 miles away from the pizza, and then it should be good enough. That's what I really enjoy.
My dad's gonna hate you for that because that's his favorite pizzas.
Why though? I mean, I love so much Mr.
I would always pick it off. I'm like, that's the grossest thing, Dad. I'm not
Mr. Senior Madden here. Like, I just don't understand. By the way, I love pineapple. Okay, it's one of my favorite fruits. Just eat it separately, right? Get some first the pizza and then the pineapple. That's perfect.
All right. So what is your favorite pizza coming from a bona fide Italiano?
Diavola. Pizza Diavola. It's the spicy one, basically. But it's not complicated, right? It's really simple. You get the pizza, like oven made with some mozzarella and then like some spicy salami. Or some of the recipes, they would put, for example, like salami, but with spicy oil, for example, with like peperoncino calabrese, like from Calabria. That's good stuff. It hurts you a bit, but it's good. Like I like to suffer a bit, but it's good.
I love that. I love the spicy food. So runner up here, what's your favorite pasta?
Ooh, the carbonara that my mom makes. Because every person does it kind of differently, right? But the one that my mom makes, man, she's got something there. You should come to my house and try it out one of these days. You'll see.
I know what I'm having for dinner tomorrow. I'm gonna make some pasta and order some pizza. Alex, it's been wonderful talking with you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience, our growing audience here at Imagine AI Live?
I would love to meet each and one of you, but live, right? In person, as we did in Las Vegas. It was an incredible thing. That's why I'm so grateful for you and Steve and all the other wonderful people working on this, because it's something unique, like the experience that I had, because I've been doing this for like actually more than 1 year, because I did like my master's thesis in chatbots, but back then nobody cared. But to actually meet people, and sit at the dinner table and make jokes about LLMs, that was like a one-of-a-kind situation when people understand you and you can like kind of vibe with your tribe, right? So we're people that are brought together by a common goal and sharing this experience, right? Live, it's something that is so beautiful. We need more of that, especially in the age of AI. And yeah, I hope we will have the chance to meet and organize great things and talk about this, but as people, right? From person to person, not through AI agents and all this stuff. Sometimes I'm a bit old school, but it is what it is.
No, that's great. And that's what we're trying to do with the Imagine AI meetups and the community that we're building here, is have this place for people to actually meet in person if they want, or jump on a call, do live chats. I mean, you basically do the step above or below that, which is Twitter Spaces. You organize Twitter Spaces and have these live roundtable, open conversation sessions about AI and helping people there too. So I definitely get that community builder, community vibe from you a lot. And I know you're doing a lot of great work.
I'm just a very talkative Italian chatterbox. That's the thing. It helps me out a lot when you can talk like 8 hours per day straight. It makes the job easier.
Definitely. Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure to chat again and do this longer format. We will have to meet up, do this for another round, maybe 2-3 months from now. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for the wonderful time, Chris. I wish you the best. And hope to meet you soon, actually, and shake your hand and have a pizza together. I'm going to show you the good one.
Oh, let's do that for sure. All right. Ciao.
Ciao.